So Nintendo legally owns a porn movie as a parody of the Mario franchise. All right, everybody. Welcome back to the YS channel. So today we're going to talk about the Super Mario movie franchise as a whole, starting with you call it the original movie. It's simply known as the Super Mario Anime or OVA, and it was released in 1986. It kind of sort of got like an English dub, but not really. It was never widely released outside of Japan, but it's the original one. And then, of course, you have the live action movie from 1993, Bob Haskins,
Oh yeah.
which, we'll talk about that one in a sec. And then the
God.
2023
Mm.
DreamWorks one with Chris Pratt. So the 2023 movie with Chris Pratt. And then the sequel that just came out, Super Mario Galaxy movie, which also features Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt for a while was in everything.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so let's just simply go back to 1986. The Mario franchise is still pretty much in its infancy. And Japan released a one-off movie, direct to video, known as OVA. And um, for honestly, for 30 years, roughly, it was the best Mario movie by default. It's the only other one we had until, again, like 3 years ago was the 1993 live action movie, which, ugh. So the 1986 one, you know, again, the Mario franchise is in its infancy still. So a lot of the characters and that we know and characters we don't know and the way they're portrayed is different from how we're used to seeing them nowadays.
Well, let me add
Namely,
something. Let me add something here. Like this OVA you're talking about, is it it sounds like the Sonic anime movie from the 90s because they try to do their own thing with that movie while kind of sticking to what the video games were about. And
sort of.
it sounds like this anime movie did something similar because I did see a clip of it. Like
It's yes. So you're kind of getting the point here. All right. I've seen some of it, and I know the general plot to it, and it was pretty. I won't say extremely well received, but it was well received ish. You know, for an OVA, especially for a video game franchise, especially at that time, it's not a terrible movie. So it still sticks to the lore of the Mario franchise up to that point, roughly. You got Mario and Luigi, you got the Mushroom Kingdom, you got Princess Peach, and you got Bowser, otherwise known as Koopa. Now the characterizations are different. Princess Peach has a love interest. All right, that's not Mario. It's Mother Prince. And then in the English dub, I take that back. So yeah, in the Japanese dub or the original Japanese one, she has a love interest. They did try to do an English dub where they just make it her brother, and they kind of edit around that part. They kind of keep it in line with the ending of the original Super Mario Brothers game. You have like the toads, but they look weird. It does take place a lot of in the Mushroom Kingdom, but a lot of the elements you're used to seeing aren't quite there. There's no floating bricks and question mark blocks and shit of that nature. But the core characters are there: Mario, Luigi, the Princess Peach, and Bowser. Now, unlike the main story of the games where Bowser wants to kidnap Princess Peach so she would marry him, this one he's just pissed off that she won't go to his birthday party.
well, who wouldn't be pissed off?
Yeah, but a lot of the other mystical elements are there. You got the way like the Mario Brothers always enter the Mushroom Kingdom via warp pipe from like New York. That element of the origins is still intact in this movie, and it's a fun watch from what I know. People who've gotten their hands on it and watched the full thing, other YouTubers who've reviewed it, they like it. I've never seen the whole thing, but the parts I have seen are pretty fun and enjoyable for what it is. So let's just fast forward into the year 1993. We get a Hollywood big budget live action adaptation of the Mario franchise starring Bob Haskins.
Yes, Bob Hoskins for you though don't know who he is. If you ever seen the movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit, he plays the main character apart from Roger Rabbit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so honestly, you know, in the early 90s, if you were going to do a live action Mario movie, he's not a bad choice, actually, when you think about how Mario's supposed to be portrayed. If you want to make like an accurate, comically short screen adaptation, and probably Danny DeVito would be the go-to for that. Short and fat. But if you want a shorter person, but not like a midget, Bob Hoskins is a good choice. And this movie is a what's the best way to describe this movie?
Well,
It's an acid.
I can tell you it's a train wreck from start to finish.
It's an acid trip. So I'll give it props. It uses all practical effects, and the practical effects are actually rendered decently in this movie. Say what you want about the way the acting is, the story, the pacing, and all the other shit that goes into it. But they did a damn good job of the special effects. Now, everything else about it is a fucking acid trip. I mean, the Mario and Luigi are all right. They're well cast for that time period. I'll give them props for that. But everything else is just, ugh. I mean, little Bowser, aka Koopa, was played by Dennis Hopper, and he's like a weird human Blizzard hybrid thing. I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, it's a Mario movie in name only. Like they really take like the elements from the cartoons and the games too literally, and you get a movie that's just what the fuck is like it's like a dystopian sci-fi movie where it's supposed to be like a fantasy adventure romp escapism kind of thing, right? But you get like this dystopian sci-fi hellscape.
Well, the problem with the movie is, well, it did have a decent budget for that time period. You hit the nail on on the head. They took it too literally. Like the Koopas and the Goombas are like basically the Goombas, the first villain you see in the game. They're walking mushrooms, and in this movie, they're like lizard people straight from the descriptions of the aliens people have claimed to see and Dennis Hopper, he was an odd choice to play Cooper or Bowser because he as an actor he was known for being volatile himself, and given this was supposed to be a children's movie, a family movie I should say, he was a bad choice. Not a terrible actor, but he was not the right choice to
Yeah, he's
play.
at the right choice of that movie.
Like,
Well, even the way Bowser or Koopa is portrayed, like it's one thing to make the Goombas the way they were,
mm,
but then you make Bowser the way he is. I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah,
well,
it just ugh.
the problem I have with this movie, you mentioned it, was they tried to make it into a sci-fi dystopia movie because at a certain point in the movie, the both worlds try to merge.
Yeah. If I recall correctly,
Mm.
like the Mario Bros. Movie is a fucking dumpster fire. Now it does have a bit of a cult following because it's just such an out there piece, especially for this franchise. I mean, people are interested in it. It does have a bit of a cult following. It's not the worst movie ever made. I want to remove people's misconceptions here. It's definitely the best movie ever made. And I'm not going to say it's the worst Mario movie. We'll get to that in just a bit.
That's
So, long story short,
hmm.
it's a dumpster fire. I mean, technically, if we wanted to, we could. There's one more hidden Mario movie from the '90s. All right, so there was a porn parody, and Nintendo was so worried about it becoming gaining traction, becoming popular, they bought the rights to this movie just so they could bury it.
Well, it must be one really good porn movie for a multi-billion dollar video game company to buy the rights to.
Well, they wanted to buy it just to bury it, which is ironic because I'm sure there's probably dozens Mario porn parodies out there.
Hmm.
But we're not even gonna go down that street. So yeah, so let's just get right to it. It's the best Mario movie by default so far, and it's 2023 Super Mario Brothers the movie. This one has Chris Pratt, and you get Jack Black as Bowser. Chris Pratt's Mario. All right. Now this movie is, besides the 1986 OVA one-off,
Hmm.
it's definitely the most faithful adaptation of the franchise in any media outside the video games. Yeah, I mean they take some liberties here or there. You know, it's a Hollywood blockbuster production, but the whole core of it's there. Mario Brothers are plumbers in New York, specifically Brooklyn. One of the criticisms it got was the Chris Pratt's Mario voice. Fuck, I forget the name of the guy that's been the voice of Mario for the video games and commercials. Like I should know that guy's name, but like you always hear the commercial, it's a me, a Mario, right?
Well, to be honest with you, apart from like commercials, the occasional voice clip, that actor, that guy who voices Mario in the games, has never actually really done like a full-on voice acting campaign
Well, I'm
for
just
for the
saying. Well,
for the
I'm just saying
character.
that that voice is iconic for the character, though,
Yes, yes.
and a lot of people were upset because the movie A didn't cast him as the lead, and then Chris Pratt's Mario just sounds nothing like the video game one. And you know what? The thing is, what people don't realize, especially anyone that was born after the year 2000, is Chris Pratt's Mario voice is more accurate to the portrayals of the 80s to the early 90s. Again, he's a plumber from Brooklyn. Like they make it sound less cartoony, and he gets more of a Brooklyn type accent, which is how he's been pretty much portrayed outside of a couple, one-offs and the franchise. But that was one of the criticisms. But other than that, I mean, this is a pretty faithful adaptation. They take some liberties. They cram a bunch of references into the movie. You get the whole subplot with Donkey Kong, which, again, that dates back to the origins of the Mario franchise, which the game is called Donkey Kong. And Mario's got to defeat Donkey Kong to rescue
Yes.
Pauline. That's
Well, well,
that's what again. That's a different can of worms, right?
here's a fun
But
fact about Super Mario. Originally, he was not a plumber. He was actually a carpenter. Somehow between the original Donkey Kong game and the first Super Mario Bros. Game, he became a plumber.
still, I mean, the
Yeah.
blue collar lines of work. But basically, with the 2023 version, Mario and Luigi they're looking for the big break. They just started their plumbing business. They just broke off on their own. Brooklyn is flooding, and they go try to find the source of it, and they end up finding one of the green warp pipes. That takes them and it gets sucked into the Mushroom Kingdom, just like pretty much every other portrayal. And while they're being warped, they get separated. Mario ends up pretty much just outside of like Peach's castle, and then Luigi ends up in some wasteland, and then there is pretty much going to be like the setting for a Luigi Mansions movie. That's a whole different topic in of itself. But just like the video games, Bowser's in there, and his whole goal is to get Princess Peach to marry him. All right, now he's a little bit more brutal about it. than he is in the video games. He's still pretty cartoony. Jack Black was a phenomenal choice to do it. He nails it. I mean, pretty much everyone kind of nails it. And then Donkey Kong, except for stuff fucking Rogan. So I hate him. Uh, but I
Everyone
mean,
hates
even
him.
as Donkey Kong was, yeah, well, his Donkey Kong was pretty fun. I mean, it's a more animated, lively, loosey goosey version than we're used to seeing. And they flesh out the Kong Kingdom a bit in ways that really hasn't been seen even inside the Donkey Kong games of itself. I mean, there's enough references. You got Super Mario Kart references. You got all kinds of stuff going on, right? It's a fun movie. One of the things people kind of complain about is like the story is kind of thin, and character development is kind of thin, which are valid points. But it's an easy and simple to follow story. The Mario Brothers are trying to make a name for themselves. They get sucked into the Mushroom Kingdom. While they're getting sucked in there, they get separated. So they got to regroup and find their way out. And then they get entangled in Bowser's plot to kidnap the princess. And to decide, well, Mario decided, well, he's going to save the princess, save his brother, and then get out. That's basically the plot of the movie. We've discussed the 2023 Super Mario Brothers movie. And now let's discuss its sequel, the Super Mario Galaxy movie. All right. Again, this is a sequel. Pretty much the whole cast returns for this one, some new additions, and it's still animated by DreamWorks Illumination. So, what are your opinions about the Super Mario Galaxy movie? Did you see it yet?
I saw it in theaters. My opinion about the movie is it was okay, not the greatest sequel, not the worst Super Mario Bros. movie either, but like it tried to the whole stuff about the movie was Mario and Princess Peach going across different galaxies within their universe to rescue Rosalina, who's the princess in the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Is that you'd be expecting
Spoilers.
yes.
This is where I'm going to jump in here. All right. So, in my opinion, this is actually the worst Mario movie out there. All right. So, whereas the 1993 movie was a disaster, all right. If you, like I said earlier, if you remove all the Mario Nintendo badging from it, right, you have a you have an interesting kind of sci-fi dystopian adventure kind of movie. I'm not saying it's a great one, but you have one with a more coherent plot than the Super Mario Galaxy movie. The Super Mario Galaxy movie has an even thinner plot than the 2023 movie. It's like three bullet points. All right, you know, Mario and Princess Peach have to go across the Mushroom Galaxy to fucking find her sister, who she just now remembers as her sister. Yay! Bowser Jr. wants to get his dad back. Yay! All right, and the story. All right. Now, don't get me wrong; it's well animated. You can't take anything from the animation team. It's well animated, but this is one, and it's story wise, it's a mess of a movie. Whereas the '93 Mario movie has a cleaner story. It's a terrible Mario movie though. I'll say that. And this one's even more messed plot wise. Now, all the other shortcomings from the '93 movie, such as pretty much the tone, is what sinks it. Because that very easily could have been a PG-13 R-rated movie with a couple little tweaks here or there. Whereas this movie sets the tone just right for its target demographic audience. It's literally like Skittles and sugar, but in movie format. It's just they try to shoehorn too much shit into it. So there you have it. Um, the Mario movie franchise really isn't a strong cinematic franchise. You know, hopefully moving forward, they work on making like there is going to be a sequel. It's just hopefully they make it a better story than what we got with this one.
Well, they're also making
So,
Donkey Kong Country movie.
which again, and hopefully they do a good job with that.
Well, also on top of that, they're also making a live action Legend of Zelda movie, which I I have experience about that already, just because I feel like Legend of Zelda works best as an animation, not live action. But
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Now, one of the rumors, now I don't know if it holds any weight, is they want to do a Super Smash Brothers movie. Hence why they're trying to shoehorn all the shit into these movies. But that's just a rumor.
well,
Now, with all that out of the way, my personal recommendation, like if you want to get into the Mario movie franchise, start with the 2023 movie and then watch the 1986 OVA. And then if you want to be a completionist, watch the 93 live action disaster and then the 2026 Super Mario Galaxy movie. But as far as I'm concerned, you can skip those. And then you could find the 1990s porn parody. Good on you.
I have anything else to add other than I'll carry off obviously about the 2023 Super Mario Brothers movie. I think it's the best one out there,
Yeah, well, that's one by default.
and this one by default, and it's a decent take on the franchise and what they're building to that point, and also a decently animated movie. But I would nitpick that Chris Pratt he's either hit or miss depending on on who watches the movie. I think they could have found someone else to do the voice, but Chris Pratt isn't the worst thing out there, but some people think he is.
Uh,
But
no, he's not. So,
yeah.
yeah. So there you all have it. The Mario franchise is really all over the place cinematically, but there's content out there for you movie consumers. So go watch and enjoy. And if you like our content, drop a like and subscribe. We always greatly appreciate it. And until the next movie discussion and review, later.